Yabashmi Ashar Shaaiwan, okay.
Get started. We'll go ahead and face the east. Ladies, grab your head wraps if you don't have them on already. Brothers, if you got your hats on or whatever, remove your hats. Face the east. Start out with the Lord's Prayer. Hallelujah. 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 Shaaiwan, Kadash, Ayah, Shika, Yahweh, Macwabath, Ratazaka, Ayah, Ashar, 𝐤𝐿𝐿, Ayah, Shaaiwan, Noah, Kal, Yawam, Salachnawa, Bobby Noah, Shaaiwan, Yall, Shaaiwan, Rai, Kaya, Macwabath,
God is the book of Matthew, chapter 6, and verse 9. After this manner, therefore pray ye, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Got your mic in? Shema, Yasharallah, Yahweh, Allah Hayyanah, Yahweh, Shema, Yasharallah, Yahweh, Allah Hayyanah,
Allah Hayyanah, Yahweh,
Shema, Yasharallah, Yahweh, Allah Hayyanah, Yahweh, Shema, Yasharallah, Yahweh, Allah Hayyanah, Yahweh. Hear, Israel, Yahweh, our power is one. Deuteronomy 6, verse 4. Hallelujah. 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 I'm glad you're seated. Shalom, 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 family. Ashar, Yawam, Shaaiwan, Macwabath. Happy day of Simon Maccabees. We're going to get right into it because it's a little extensive reading. I know the natives got to get up early, so we'll try to speed through this a little bit. Not too much, but just enough. Everybody get the point, get to celebrating, relaxing and sipping, and then going to bed because we got to go to work tomorrow. All right, so we'll start out with First Maccabees chapter 13 and verse 1. This is
the book of First Maccabees, chapter 13, verse 1. Now, when Simon heard that Trifle had gathered together a great host to invade the land of Judea and destroy it.
Stop right there. Let's get Acts 5 and 11. We're talking about Trifon. The elder will call it Trifon.
The book of Acts, chapter 5, verse 11. And great fear came upon all the church and upon as many as heard these things.
Verse 2.
First Maccabees, chapter 13, verse 2. And saw that the people was in great trembling and fear. He went up to Jerusalem and gathered the people together. Verse 3. And gave them exhortation, saying, Yea, yourself know what great things I and my brethren in my father's house have done for the laws and the sanctuary, the battles also and troubles which we have seen.
So this is Simon Maccabees stepping into the role of the leader of the Maccabean Empire, the Hasmonean Empire, and the Jews. And he said, you know the works of my father, Mattathias Maccabeus, and you know what my brothers Jonathan and all have done. Right? Let's get First Maccabees 2 and chapter 1.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 1. In those days arose Mattathias, the son of John, the son of Simon, a priest of the sons of Jarib from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin. Verse 2. And he had 5 sons. Joman, called Cadus. Simon called Thassi.
Thassi meaning counselor, or wise person, or wise of the group, because they all had certain gifts that were given from the Most High. Go ahead, read on.
Verse 4. Judas, who was called Maccabees.
Judas Maccabeus, the hammer, right? Read on.
Eleazar, called Abiron, and Jonathan, whose surname was Aphis.
Right, read on.
Verse 6. And when he saw that the blasphemies that were committed in Judea, and in Jerusalem. Verse 7. He said, Woe is me, wherefore was I born to see the misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers.
That's right there. So just like his father Mattathias Maccabeus, all the brothers and Simon stepped up and said the same thing. Listen, woe is me. I got to live to see the destruction of my people, of the temple, of the sanctuary, of our laws. I got to live to see do that. Right. So let's go back to First Maccabees 13 and pick it up with 2.
First Maccabees chapter 13, verse 2. And saw that the people was in great trembling and fear. He went up to Jerusalem and gathered the people together, and gave them exhortation, saying, Ye yourselves know what great things I and my brethren in my father's house have done for the laws and the sanctuary, the battles also and troubles which we have seen. By reasoning, wherefore all my brethren are slain for Israel's sake, and I am left alone.
Right. So Simon thought that his brother Jonathan was slain, not knowing that he was captured. He was captured and still alive, but Mattathias Maccabeus and all the rest of his brethren were dead, and died for the cause of the sanctuary and for Jerusalem. Right, read on.
Verse 5. Now therefore be it far from me that I should spare mine own life in any time of trouble, for I am no better than my brethren.
So Simon said, who am I? I done lost my father, my brothers. They done battled for Israel. Who am I that I should sit here and just let them take everything that belongs to us? Who am I to sit here and say, listen, I'm not going to avenge the laws? Who am I to say, listen, I'm not going to avenge my brothers and my father? I'm going to have to go out. I'm going to have to be there. Every time I read this part, I think about 300, right? When she tells Leonidas, listen, go out with your sword, or go out with your shield, or go out on it. And that's what Simon's saying. Listen, I got to go out on my sword, or my shield, right? Read on.
Verse 6. Doubtless I will avenge my nation and the sanctuary and our wives and our children, for all the heathen as gathered to destroy us over very malice.
Very malice, just like that damn devil up in New York, that damn Daniel Penny, who murdered our brother Jordan Neely in malice, in cold blood. He straight murdered him, right? It was very malice. Read on.
Verse 7. Now as soon as the people heard these words, the spirit revived.
Get John 6:63. So the spirit revived. He giving them such a lively exhortation. The people are like, yeah, let's get after this. Let's fight for our laws. Let's fight for our people.
The book of John, chapter 6, verse 63. It is the spirit that quickeneth.
The spirit makes you alive, right? Read on.
The flesh profited nothing.
The flesh profit nothing. So when you go to fight and battle, you got to battle in the spirit. Maccabees were praying and battling at the same time when you read through the book of the Maccabees, right? So the spirit is what gets you through this battle, right? The flesh profits nothing. If you die, you die. You got to be willing to sacrifice everything for the Most High, right? Go back to First Maccabees 13 and verse 8.
It's the book of First Maccabees, chapter 13, verse 8.
It's a lot here. Brothers, if you want to call, if you got any precepts you want to bring out, go for it and bring them out.
And they answered with a loud voice, saying, Thou shalt be our leader instead of Judaeus and Jonathan thy brother. Fight thou our battles, and whatsoever thou commandest us, that we do. That
Right,
we
so
will
said,
do.
listen, whatever you command us to do, we're going to do that. You know?
So then he gathered together all the men of war and made haste to finish the walls of Jerusalem, and he fortified it round about. Fortified it round about.
Right, we going.
Also, he sent Jonathan, the son of Absalom, and with him a great power to Joppa, who casting out them that we therein remain there in it.
Right, we going.
So Tryphon removed from Ptolemais with a great power to invade the land of Judea, and Jonathan was with him in war.
So they had Jonathan hostage. Simon, not knowing, thought he was dead. They had Jonathan hostage as a hostage, you know.
But Simon pitched his tent at Adida over against the plain.
Right.
Now, when Tryphon knew that Simon was risen up instead of his brother Jonathan and meant to join battle with him, he sent messages unto him, saying,
like he knew. He was like, damn, these Maccabees, I can't get rid of them. Yo, I got Jonathan, everything is good. Now, Dassie wants to rise up. Simon's going to rise up. Oh, man, look, I can't deal with this. Let me get Exodus 21:16. So, yeah, he's at his wit's end with the Maccabees. He's like, yeah, I can't right now. I got Jonathan in war. Everything is good. And now Simon wants to rise up, and he's raising up the people to battle against us. I can't have that. I agree. 21:16.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 21, verse 16. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death.
Now that's a law for Israel. So how much more punishment is Tryphon going to have to get for holding Jonathan hostage? Right? Read that again. It's verse 16.
Verse 16. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death.
Now, mind you, he already had Jonathan in war, but he pretty much sold him back or tried to sell him back. Right? We'll read that a little later on. Let's go back to First Maccabees 13, and we'll start at 15 again.
It's the book of First Maccabees, chapter 13, verse 15. Wherever we have Jonathan thy brother, and hold it is for money that he is owning unto the king of treasure.
So he's lying, saying, listen, Jonathan owes us money. We holding him because he owes us money. You know what I'm saying? Like the government would act, like the government would act if we had tax evasion or something like that. That's how they're trying to hold Jonathan, right? Keep going.
Concerning the business that was committed unto him.
Right, go ahead.
Verse 16, wherefore now send any 100 talents of silver and 2 of his sons for hostage, that when he is at liberty, he may not revolt from us.
So this dastardly bastard Tryphon says, listen, we're not going to give this man up. We're not giving Jonathan up unless we get 100 talents, and I need 2 of his sons. So he's trying to destroy the sons. He's trying to destroy the entire lineage of Jonathan altogether. I said, listen, I need 100 talents. I need to come up, and I need the 2 sons so I can put them to death in case, this is what he said, in case Jonathan decides to come back at us, right? Free.
That he may revolt us, and we will let him go. Hereupon Simon albeit he perceived that they spake deceitfully unto him, yet he sent the money and the children, lest premature,
That's peradventure,
he should procure to himself great hatred of the people.
Right, so it says, hereupon Simon, albeit perceived they speak deceitfully. He knew Tryphon was lying. He said, yo, listen, he's lying through his air cool teeth. Listen, if I send this money, the people are going to say I did wrong. But if I don't send the money, the people are going to say Jonathan died because I didn't send the money to the kids. He's in the catch-22 situation. So, you know what I'm saying? When you're in a leadership situation, sometimes you make the move that people like, sometimes you make a move that people going to hate. But at some point, the decision has to be made and you got to ride out with it, right? So it says, hereupon Simon, albeit perceived they spake deceitfully unto him, yet he sent the money and the children, lest peradventure, or perhaps, he should procure himself great hatred of the people. Let me get Romans 10 and 21. Because Israel like to talk. Israel like to talk. They're going to talk about you whether you did bad or whether you did good. Like I said, if he sends the money, he's going to hear about it. If you don't send the money to the kids, he's going to hear about it. Either way. They like the gainsay.
It's the book of Romans, chapter 10 and verse 21. But to Israel he said, all day long I have stretched forth my hands unto the disobedient and gainsayers people.
To a disobedient and gainsaying people. This is the Most High speaking like, yo, listen, I've been stretched out my hand all day long. All y'all do is talk bad about me. So that's the same situation that Simon is in. He's like, listen, if I do this, I'm going to be talking about that. They're going to talk about me bad. If I do this, they're going to talk about me bad. But he sent the money and the sons anyway, right? Let me get Isaiah 65 and 2.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 65 and verse 2. I have spread out my hands all the day unto a rebellious people.
To a what?
A rebellious people.
A rebellious people. So listen, no matter what decision he made, they were going to be upset about it. Read.
Which walketh in a way that was not good, after their own thoughts.
Which walk in a way which is not good after their own thoughts. Meaning they want to gainsay regardless of whatever decision he makes. Right? Let's go back to 1 Maccabees 13 and start at 18.
It's the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 13, verse 18. Who might have said, because I sent him not the money.
And this is the gainsay that they're going to try to do, right? Read.
And the children, therefore is Jonathan dead.
So they're going to say, yeah, Jonathan dead because you didn't send the money and the children. But if you didn't send the money and the children, they'd have said what? Damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Right? Read that again.
Verse 18. Who might have said, because I sent him not the money and the children, therefore is Jonathan dead?
Read on.
So he sent them the children and the 100 talents. Howbeit Tryphon dissembled, neither would he let Jonathan go.
Yeah, so Tryphon went back on his words. I called him Trifling. That's right. Trifling. He went back on his words, right? Let me get Proverbs 26 and 24. He went back on his words. He was looking to kill Jonathan in the first place, and he wanted to kill his sons too, and come up and make $1 off of it at the same damn time. Just like Esau, filthy bastard.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 26, verse 26.
26. You started 22.
Verse 22. The words of a talebearer are out.
The words of what?
Of a talebearer.
Who's trifling?
Talebearer.
Right.
Are as wounds, and they go down into the innermost parts of the belly.
They go down to the innermost parts of the belly. Read on.
Burning lips and a wicked heart.
What?
Burning lips. Burning lips and a wicked heart are like a potsherd covered with silver dross.
Well, read on.
He that hateth dissembled with his lips and layeth on deceit within him.
Read that part again. He that hateth.
He that hateth dissembled with his lips and layeth on deceit within him.
That's what trifling did. That's what trifling just did. Read on.
When he speaketh fair, believe him not. For
Say what?
When he speaketh fair, believe him not.
Yeah, when he talk all humbled and I really, I'm sorry, I just wanted to read that.
When he speaketh fair, believe him not.
Believe him not, right? Read on.
For there are 7 abominations.
How many abominations?
7 abominations.
Yeah, perfect amount of abominations in this man's heart. Read.
Whose hatred is covered by deceit. His wickedness shall be shewed before the whole congregation.
His wickedness shall be shown to everybody, the entire congregation. Right? That's it on that. 26. Get first. Let's go back to First Maccabees chapter 13 and 19.
Book of First Maccabees, chapter 13, verse 19. So he sent them the children and 100 talents, albeit Tryphon dissembled, neither would he let Jonathan go.
So he lied to the man, and he's not going to let Jonathan go. Read on.
And after this came Tryphon to invade the land and destroy it.
To do what?
To invade the land and destroy it.
So yeah, I got Jonathan. I got 100 talents of silver. I got his 2 sons. And now I'm going to destroy the land. Read.
Going around about by the way that leading upon the door. But Simon and his host marched against him in every place whatsoever he went.
So like read that one, read verse 20 again.
And after this came Tryphon to invade the land and destroy it, going round about by the way that leadeth unto our door. But Simon and his host marched against him in every place.
So Simon was ready for him. He said, everywhere Tryphon wants to step, I got somebody warning. Right? Read on.
Every place whatsoever he went. Now they were that were in the tower sent messages unto Tryphon to the end that he should haste his coming unto them by the wilderness and send them victuals.
Yeah, victuals. Yeah,
Victuals.
Tryphon's men was running out of food and water. So they sent to Tryphon to try to get him to bring some food and water to them in the tower. Read.
Wherefore Tryphon made ready all his horsemen to come that night.
Yeah, Tryphon thought he was going to make a move that night, go get his men some food, some water, get them prepared for battle for the next day, whatever else. Read.
But there fell a very great snow.
Shimmer my shot down.
Shimmer
I said, not today. Listen, would you throw a little snow at him real quick? You know, a little snowstorm. You know, the camels was probably like, what the hell? Like, it was no years ago.
By reason whereof he came not.
So he didn't even come up. He's like, yo, it's snowing like that, man. Listen, this the shutdown. Listen, we ain't going nowhere. It's snowing like that. Nah, I ain't going nowhere. Y'all gonna have to tough this one out. Man. I know y'all ain't got nothing left, but listen, y'all got to tough this out. Listen, I can't get to y'all. Sorry, but I'm not sorry. I can't get to y'all.
So he departed and came unto the country of Galilee. And when he came near to Boscam, he slew Jonathan, who was buried there. Afterward, Tryphon returned and went into his own land.
So yeah, he slew Jonathan, right? Buried his bones or left him his Boscam, right? And went back to his home. Let me get Sirach 12 and 10. This man Trifon, man, he's a horrible person. He's beyond horrible person. He is truly wicked. It's truly wicked. You know, came up 100 talents of silver. Got both of Jonathan's kids, both of his sons. You got Jonathan to kill him. You then went up against Simon in the land of Judah and Judea. And then you want to go home like everything is cool. Right? Read Sirach 12:10.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 12 and verse 10. Never trust thy enemy.
Never what?
Never trust thy enemy.
Right?
For like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness.
Soon as the same way that iron oxidizes and you see that those brown spots come up on there, as soon as just the same way that iron rusts, read on.
So is his wickedness.
And this man trifling, this trifling Trifon, he's wicked as hell. Read on.
Though he humbled himself.
Though he what?
Though he humbled himself.
We just read, he dissembled himself earlier. Though he humbled himself, listen, give me the 2 sons and 100 talents of silver, I'll let Jonathan go. I'll let him go. Never happened. Right? Go ahead.
And go crouching.
And go what?
Go crouching.
Listen, he thinks secretly, I'm gonna let Jonathan go. He don't know. I'm gonna kill Jonathan. I'm gonna kill the sons. I'm gonna invade his land, and I'm gonna go home and kick my feet up like nothing happened. Read.
Yet take good heed and beware of him.
Take good heed and beware of him. Read.
And thou shalt be unto him as he though haste wipe a looking glass.
If thou hast wiped the looking glass, because Simon sees right through the whole thing. He's like, listen, I'm gonna catch 22. I gotta do what I gotta do, but at the same time, listen, he thinks he's gonna get over. He's not gonna get over. Right? Go ahead.
And thou shalt know that he rust hath not been altogether wiped away.
That his rust have not all been together wiped away.
Set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place.
Let's go back to 1 Maccabees 13, we'll pick it up at 23.
It's the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 13, verse 23. And when he came near Boscam, he slew Jonathan, who was buried there.
Right, so Jonathan is slain now. Jonathan is dead, so Simon is the rightful leader of the people. Read.
Afterward, Trifon returned and went into his own land.
Right.
Then sent Simon and took the bones of Jonathan his brother.
So Simon went out and gathered his brother's bones. Read.
And buried them in Modin, the city of his fathers.
And buried them in the sepulchre of his fathers in Modin. Read.
And all of Israel made great lamentation for him, right, and bewailed him many days.
So everybody be there mourning for Jonathan because he's been slain and now he's buried, and the people are mourning for him. Read.
Simon also built a monument upon the sepulchre of his father and his brethren, and raised it aloft to the site with hew stone behind and before. So
this is like a bunch of pyramids, right? Laying in the sand. You see one in front, you see a couple behind that, you see another one in front or behind that. It's a beautiful sight to see, right?
Moreover, he set up 7 pyramids, one against another, for his father and his mother and his 4 brethren.
There's your Mother's Day. There you go. There you go. He set it up for his father and his mother. Honor thy father and thy mother, like it says in the law. Right? Read.
And in this he made cunning devices, about the which he set great pillars. And upon the pillars he made all their armor for a perpetual memory. And by the armor ships carved, that they might be seen of all that sail on the sea.
So this monument, you can see it from the sea as the ships pass by. You can see it as they pass by. These pyramids with the armor on it, in glorification of his mother and his father and his brothers. Right? Read on.
This is the sepulchre which he made at Modin, and is standing yet unto this day.
I don't know if it's still standing. From what I understand in previous lessons, Elder Sabak said they found the graves of the Maccabees in 95. So it may not still be standing to Esau when they excavate anything, everything anyway, which but it says in the scriptures it still stands, so we'll leave it with that, you know.
Now Tryphon dealt deceitfully with the young king Antiochus, and slew him.
So this is Tryphon's king. Tryphon's king Antiochus, right? And he dealt deceitfully and dissembled against his own king. This is how wicked Tryphon is, right? Read.
And he reigned him in his stead and crowned himself king of Asia.
So Lockie, you know what he did? He just pulled a Lennox Lewis. He pulled a Lennox Lewis. He said, Riddick Bowe, I don't want to fight you. All right, you threw the belt in the trash. Listen, let me take this. I'm the king now. Hey,
He crowned himself king of Asia and brought a great calamity upon the land.
go to what?
A great calamity upon the land. Then Simon built up the strongholds in Judea and fenced them about with high towers and great walls and gates and bars and laid up vital victual therein.
Right.
Moreover, Simon chose men and sent to King Demetrius to the end he should give the land in immunity, because all that Tryphon did was to spoil.
Read that last part. Oh.
All that Tryphon did was to spoil.
Let me get John 10 and 10. I just want the first part of that, John 10 and 10.
It's the book of John, chapter 10, verse 10. The thief cometh not, but for to steal and to kill and destroy.
What did Tryphon come to do?
The thief cometh not, but for to steal and to kill and to destroy.
And did he not do that? Did he not come and destroy and kill and steal? And then come into his own king and say, you know what? I need that too. Right? Let me get Obadiah 1 and 5. Tryphon. That's I need that on the jersey.
The book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 5. If the thieves came to thee, if robbers by night.
Who's this Tryphon?
If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they have enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes?
How much is enough? How much is enough? Listen, you killed Jonathan, you probably killed his sons, didn't say he did, but he probably killed his sons too. You got a talent of silver that you came up with, right? You marched against Judah and Judea and Simon and his armies, right? You then went back and slew your king so you could name yourself king so you could cause more calamity in the land. How much is enough? You gonna leave some grapes for somebody else? One more time.
This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 5. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they have enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes?
God. Let's go back to First Maccabees 13:34. He just, how much is enough? When is enough enough?
It's the book of
They should have did Nick. They should have did him like they did Nick and him. They need to do that damn Daniel Penny the same way.
It's the book of First Maccabees, chapter 13, verse 34. Moreover, Simon chose men and sent to King Demetrius to the end. He should give the land an immunity, because all that Tryphon did was to spoil. Unto him King Demetrius answered and wrote after this manner.
So let's pick it up at First Maccabees 14 and start at 16.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 14, verse 16. Now, when it was heard at Rome, as far as Sparta, that Jonathan was dead, they were very sorry. But as soon as they heard that his brother Simon was made high priest in his stead and ruled the country and the cities therein, they wrote unto him in tables of brass to renew the friendship and the league which they had made with Judas and Jonathan, his brethren.
So Simon has to make a pact with the Grecians, right? In order to side with the Romans, in order to take down Tryphon and his men.
Which writings were read before the congregation of Jerusalem. And this is the copy of the letters that Lacedaemonians sent the rulers of Lacedaemonians, which the city upon unto Simon the high priest and the elders and the priests and residue of the people of the Jews, our brethren, sent greeting. The ambassadors that were sent unto our people certified us as your glory and honor, wherefore we were glad of their coming, and did register the things that they spake into the council of the people in this manner. Nemenius, son of Antiochus, and Antipater, son of Jason, the Jews' ambassador, came unto us to renew the friendship they had with us. And it pleased the people to entertain the men honorably, and to put the copy of their embassy and the embassage and public records, to the end of the people of Macedonians might have a memorial thereof. Furthermore, we have written a copy thereof unto Simon the high priest. After this, Simon sent Nemenius to Rome with a great shield of gold of the 1,000-pound weight to confirm the league with them.
So he sent gold and he sent the robe and scepters and all of that to make a pact with these people to help him take down Tryphon, right? Let's go back to 1 Maccabees 13:36.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 13, verse 36.
These two parts of the chapter pretty much mirror each other.
King Demetrius unto Simon, the high priest and friend of kings, as also unto the elders and nations of the Jews, sent a greeting. The golden crown and the scarlet robe which he sent unto us, we have received, and we are ready to make a steadfast peace within you. Yea, and to write unto our officers to confirm the amenities which we have granted.
So there's a peace treaty being made, so that they can fight together against Tryphon. Read on.
And whatsoever covenants we have made, which you shall stand, and the strongholds which ye have built shall be your own.
So everything that you made, everything that you built up, that's all you. You got that. Listen, don't worry about it. Listen, we're gonna fight with you. That's all yours. You got that. You know.
As for any oversight or fault committed unto this day, we forgive it.
So any transgressions you got against us, listen, don't even worry about that, man. It's water under the bridge. It's water under the bridge. We fighting with you against Tryphon, right?
And the crown tax also, which we owe us. And if there were any other tribute paid in Jerusalem, it shall no more be paid.
So the taxes that you owe us, don't even worry about that, man. All that's forgiven. Don't even worry about that. Listen, we're gonna fight together with this. We're gonna take this man out, read.
And look who are meet among you to be in our court. Let them be enrolled, and let there be peace between us. Thus the yoke of the heathen was taken away from Israel in the 117th year.
The what?
The 17th year.
No, the yoke of the heathen was taken away. All those people, all those tributes they had to pay, everything that was given unto those people, they said, listen, forget about that. Let's fight against this dude. He's so wicked. He's so vile. Listen, let's work together to get him out of here. All that other stuff, that's water under the bridge. Let's fight him, get him out of here. Right? Let's get 1 Maccabees 14 and 25.
It's the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 14, verse 25. Whereof, when the people heard, they said, what thing shall we give to Simon and his sons? For he and his brethren in the house of his father have established Israel, and chase away and fight their enemies from them, and confirm their liberty. So then they wrote in his tablets of brass, which they set upon the pillars in Mount Sinai. And this is the copy of the writing. The 18th day of the month, Elul, and the 163 year, being the 3rd year of Simon the highest priest. At Samuel and the great congregation of the priests and the people and the rulers of the nation and the elders of the country were these things notified unto us. For as much as oft times there have been wars in the country, wherein for the maintenance of their sanctuary and the law Simon the son of Matthias of the posterity of Jerib, together with his brethren, put themselves in jeopardy.
They do.
Put themselves in jeopardy.
They put themselves in jeopardy for the laws of the land, for the sanctuary, for the people, for Israel.
And resisting the enemies of their nation, did their nation great honor. For after that Jonathan had gathered his nation together and been their high priest, was added to his people. Their enemies purposed to invade their country.
That's that damn Tryphon, read.
That they might destroy it and lay hands on the sanctuary. At which time Simon rose up and fought for his nation. He spent much of his own substance and armed the valiant men of his nation and gave them wages.
So this man pretty much came out of his own treasury. He came out of his own pocket with it, like, listen, yo, we're gonna take this man down. Listen, I'll pay y'all whatever. We're gonna get this done. Right? I got it. Don't worry about it. You know?
And fortified the cities of Judea together with Bethshur, that lied upon the borders of Judea, which the armor of the enemies have been before. But he set a garrison of Jews there.
So he had a bunch of men waiting there, you know.
Moreover, he fortified Joppa,
man,
which lieth upon the sea, and Gazara, the bordereth upon Azotus, where the enemies have dwelt before. For he placed Jews there, and furnished them with all the things convenient for the reparation thereof.
Yeah, he had been all around, waiting for Tryphon, you know.
The people thereof, seeing the acts of Simon, and unto what glory he thought to bring his nation, made him their governor and chief priest, because he had done all these things, and for the justice and faith which he kept to his nation.
Right.
And for that he sought by all means to exalt his people.
Let's go back to 1 Maccabees 13, 42.
42. The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 13, verse 42. Then the people of Israel began to write in their instruments and contracts. In the 5th year of Simon the high priest, the governor and the leader of the Jews. In those days Simon camped against Gaza and besieged it round about. He made also an engine of war.
What's an engine of war? Anybody know what an engine of war is? Anybody on the call know what an engine of war is? Cricket's all about. Somebody? Anybody? You know? I gotta go to the cameraman.
Like a tank, or you know what I mean, something.
God, it's like a tank or a battering ram, right? They used to hide inside the battering ram, and you would bang against up the walls of the tower. Once the tower fell, you would hop out of the battering ram and slay the people of the city round about, right? So can you read that again?
Then the people of Israel began to write in their instruments and contracts in the first year of Simon, the high priest, the governor, and the leader of the Jews.
Right.
In those days, Simon camped against Gaza and besieged it round about. He made also an engine of
A
war
battering ram of war,
and set it by the city.
right? And did what?
Set it by the city and battered a certain tower.
There you go. That's your proof right there. A battering ram. He battered a certain tower
and took it
and besieged it. Read.
And they that were in the engine leaped into the city, whereupon there was a great uproar in the city.
Yeah, they hopped out, started slaying people left and right. Right, you know.
And so much as the people of the city rent their clothes and climb upon the walls with their wives and children.
So like, this was great slaughter then. They was ripping their clothes like, yo.
And so much as the people of the city rent their clothes and climb upon the walls with their wives and children and cry with a loud voice, beseeching Simon to grant them peace.
So you know, he was slaughtering them left and right. It probably looked like Leonidas on the battlefield when you watch the movie. You know what I'm saying? He sliced one hand, spin around, slice another one there, cut an arm, cut a leg, hit another one with the shield. You know what I mean? Stab another one through. It probably look something like that, right? To the point where they're ripping their clothes off, climbing walls, like, stop! Simon, stop! Right? Right? You know?
And they said, deal not with us according to our wickedness, but according to thy mercy.
They said, listen, please don't kill us, man. Grant us mercy.
So Simon was appeased towards them.
So he granted them mercy.
And fought no more against them, but put them out of the city and cleansed the houses whereof the idols were.
He said, listen, I'm gonna let y'all live, man, but y'all got 24 hours to get up out my city. If you ain't out of my city, you're gonna die right where you stand. And I don't care, because the Most High make another look just like you. I'll kill them too. Right?
and so enter into it with songs and thanksgiving.
Right.
Yea, he put all the uncleanness out of it, and placed such men there as would keep the law.
And place such men there as would what?
Such men there as would keep the law.
Because all this whole time you've been fighting for the sanctuary. You've been fighting for the laws of God the whole time. So why not put men and fortify the place with people that are going to keep the law? Right? Read.
And made it stronger than it was before.
No, it was weak.
And made it stronger than it was before. And made it stronger than it was before. And built there a dwelling place for himself.
Right.
They also of the tower in Jerusalem were kept so straight that they could neither come forth nor go into the country, nor buy nor sell. Wherefore they were in great distress for want of victuals.
Simon had a choke in this thing, man. He said, listen, y'all can't do a damn thing unless y'all get the okay from me. Unless the okay come down and my men tell you I said okay, unless you see the insignia from the ring, unless you see all that, listen, we ain't doing nothing.
And a great number of them perished throughout the famine.
So listen, I'm gonna kill you anyway. Listen, if you ain't out of my city, I'm gonna kill you. Listen, if you ain't listening and paying attention to what I'm telling you to do, I'm gonna kill you. Because I'm gonna let you starve to death. What's worse than starving to death? When you feel that pit in your stomach, your ribs, your stomach touching your back. I'll bust around, say starving to where my skin is suffocating my ribs.
Then cried they to Simon, beseeching him to be at one with them, which thing he granted them, and when he had put them out from thence, he cleansed the tower from pollution.
He didn't starve them to mercy. He's like, listen, yo, we hungry. We got rid of half of us. Yo, listen, just deal peacefully with us. Listen, we'll do whatever you say. Do whatever you need. We got you to work by, right? We go back to First Maccabees 14, pick it up at 35.
It's the book of First Maccabees, chapter 14, verse 35.
See, that's that wise counsel. He says, I'm gonna starve them to death. After I kick half of them, I'm starve them to death. Starve them to death. Man. Listen, they don't understand who they're dealing with.
The people therefore, seeing the acts of Simon and unto what glory he thought to bring his nation, made him their governor and chief priest, because he had done all these things, and for the justice and faith which he kept to his nation. And for that he sought by all means to exalt his people.
To exalt who?
Exalt his people.
Right? Because it's all about Israel at the end of the day. It's always been, it's always going to be. Read.
For in this time things prospered in his hands, so that the heathen was taken out of their country, and they also that were in the city of David in Jerusalem, who had made themselves a tower, out of which they issued and polluted all about the sanctuary, and did much hurt in the holy place. But he placed Jews therein, and fortified it for the safety of the country and the city.
Those men, that's those men that would keep the law, right? That made the city stronger than it was. Read.
And raised up the walls of Jerusalem. King Demetrius also confirmed him in the high priesthood according to those things, and made him one of his friends, and honored him with great honor. For he had heard say that the Romans had called the Jews their friends and confederates and brethren, and that they had entertained the ambassadors of Simon honorably. Also, that the Jews and priests were well pleased that Simon should be their governor and high priest forever, until they should arise a faithful prophet.
We all know who the faithful prophet is. We don't.
Moreover, that he should be the captain and should take charge of the sanctuary to set them over their works and over their country and over the armor and over the fortresses. That I say, he should take charge of the sanctuary. Besides this, that he should be obeyed of every man, and that all the writings in the country should be made in his name.
Read that first part again.
Besides this, that he should be obeyed of every man.
Did he not starve them out?
Obeyed of every man.
Real.
And that all the writings in the country should be made in his name, and that he should be clothed in purple and wear gold.
He's wearing royal colored purple, and he's decked out in gold, like Israelites should be. You know.
Also, that it should be lawful for none of the people or priests to break in any of these things, or to gainsay his words, right, or to gather and assemble in the country without him, or to be clothed in purple, or wear a buckle of gold.
I bet not catch nobody else wearing purple. Read on.
And whatsoever should be otherwise, or break in any of these things, he should be punished.
Wait a minute. If I put on purple and a buckle of gold, what's going to happen?
He should be punished.
Wow. Read on.
Thus, it's like all the people to deal with Simon and to do as he said.
Right? Read on.
Then Simon accepted thereof and was well pleased to be high priest and captain of the governor of the Jews and priests, and to defend them all.
He took on the charge. He took on the charge with pride. He was proud to represent his people. He was proud to fight for his people. Like us to go out there on the highways and byways. That's what we do. We fight for our people in a land that hates us. America is trifling.
Yeah.
We in battle. We taking on the Roman city against trifle. Right, when we go out there on those highways and byways, you know.
So they commanded that his writings should be put in table of brass, and that they should be set up within the compass of the sanctuary and the conspicuous place. Also, that the copies thereof should be laid up in treasure, to the end that Simon and his sons might have them.
God, let's go back to First Maccabees 13:52.
This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 13, verse 52. He ordained also that day should be kept every year with gladness, Moreover, the hill of the temple that was by the tower, he made stronger than it was, and there he dwelt himself with his company.
Right, we definitely time.
He ordained also that that day should be kept every year with gladness.
That's why we're here tonight. Keeping the day of Simon Maccabees, the great high priest who fortified the walls of Jerusalem and brought back the sanctuary and the people and the glory of Israel. Right? Read on.
And when Simon saw that John, his son, was a valiant man, he made him captain of all the hosts and dwelt in Gaza.
So talk about John, Hyrcanus the first. He made him captain over all his armies and over all his people. Right? Let's go to 1 Maccabees 14 and we'll start at verse 4.
It's the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 14 and verse 4. As for the land of Judea,
As for the land of Judea, read on.
that was quiet all the days of Simon, for
Peace after the days of Simon. Read.
For he sought the good of his nations in such wise as that evermore his authority and honor pleased them well.
Read on.
And as he was honorable in all his acts, so in this, that he took Joppa
To Joppa
for an haven and made an entrance to the isles of the sea, and enlarged the bounds of his nation.
He did what?
And enlarged the bounds of his nation.
So the land of Israel got bigger. So listen, I'm taking that. Give me that. Give me, I need that. Go ahead.
And enlarged the bounds of his nation and recovered the country. And gathered together a great number of captives.
Wait.
Captives. Captives.
Wait. Are you sure about that?
Captives.
Spell it.
C-A-P-T-I-V-E-S.
Captives. That means slaves. Man, that sounds kind of familiar, don't it?
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress.
Captives. It had the dominion of Gazara and Basura, and the tower out of which he took all the uncleanness, neither was there any that resisted him.
Man, they were scared of that man.
Then did they till their ground in peace, and the earth gave her increase, and the trees of the field their fruit.
Right.
The ancient men sat all in the streets, communing together of good things, and the young men put on glorious and warlike apparel. He provided vital victuals for the cities, and set in them all matter of ammunition, so that his honorable name was renowned unto the end of the world.
Right.
He made peace in the land, and Israel rejoiced in great joy. For every man sat under his vine and his fig tree, and there was none to free them.
You stop there, let me get Zechariah 3:10. So yeah, there's peace in the land. You've got captives, they mowing fields and planting seeds, probably breaking bricks, The elders out in the streets, doing their thing, they sitting around talking, Back then, they probably was playing chess, trying to figure out how to play it. Right?
It's the book of Zechariah, chapter 3, verse 10.
Right.
And that day, saith the Lord of hosts, shall ye call every man his neighbor under the vine and under the fig tree.
They were sitting there relaxing under the vine and under the fig tree. Let me get back to 4 and 4. It was peace, man. They was probably picking figs off the tree. Yeah, did you see so-and-so do that last night? Yeah, they was trying to throw the discus, Simon shut that down. Like the 4:4. You might flip past it real quick. See, if you went to church, they be like, who?
That's a mic out.
Micah. I ain't in that. I'm going too far. Back up. Go. More.
Micah 4:4.
Yeah.
The book of Micah, chapter 4, verse 4.
Bring it out.
But they shall sit every man under his vine and under his fig tree, and none shall make them afraid, for the mouth of the Lord
And that's
make them afraid.
So trifling ain't gonna make them afraid no more.
For the mouth of the Lord of hosts have spoken.
Who spoke that?
The mouth of the Lord.
So it's about Yahweh by Shema Mashach spoken that. This is during the time of Simon still. Every man in his fig tree, Most High said, listen, there's gonna be peace. That's what we fight, that's what we go out there to fight for, peace. Right? Let's go back to 1 Maccabees 14 and 15.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 14, verse 15. He beautified the sanctuary and multiplied the vessels of the temple.
So this is everything Simon did. He beautified the temple and made everything peaceful, right? And let's find out what happened with him after that. Let's go to 1 Maccabees 16 and verse 11. He had set up his son John Hyrcanus as the captain. Peace in the land, every man on his fig tree. All the captives working. It's good days at the time. You know?
This is the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 16,
And 11.
verse 11. Moreover, in the plain of Jericho was
Ptolemaeus.
Ptolemaeus, the son of Bus
Macwabath.
made captain.
So Ptolemaeus is actually the son-in-law of Simon, right? You know,
And he had abundance of silver and gold,
you know,
for he was the high priest's son-in-law.
he was who?
He was the high priest's son-in-law.
So there you go. That's the validation. That's Simon's son-in-law, you know.
Wherefore of his heart being lifted up,
He was proud in his head and his mind, you know.
he thought to get the country to himself, and thereupon consulted deceitfully against Simon and his sons to destroy them.
He did what?
He deceitfully against Simon and his sons to destroy them.
Consulted deceitfully against Simon and his sons, Mattathias and Judas, right? To destroy them. Read.
Now Simon was visiting the cities that were in the country, and taking care for the good order of them, at which time he came down himself to Jericho with his sons.
So he's making his rounds with his sons, man. He's making sure everything is good. You know, he got Mattathias and Judas with him. You know, he named them after his father and his brother, you know, his sons. And he said, listen, come on with me, y'all. Make our rounds. Just go about the city, see what's going on. Check in with everybody, you know.
With his sons Mattathias and Judas in the 117th year.
The 7th year.
And in the 11th month called Sabbath,
You know,
where the son of Abubus, receiving them deceitfully in their little hole called darkness,
right, you know.
which he had built, made them a great banquet, albeit he had hid men there.
So they're having a great banquet for Simon and his sons, and he's got spies and men to deceitfully take down Simon and his sons there, you know.
So when Simon and his sons had drunk largely,
They did what?
when Simon and his sons had drunk largely,
Right, you know.
Ptolemy and his men rose up
Mhm.
and took their weapons and came upon Simon into the banquet place, and slew them, and his sons and certain of his servants.
That's how Simon died. He was at a great banquet. He and his sons, they had drunk a plenty, you know. You drink a little bit, you know, you vision started to get a little blurred, you know, everything kind of brightens up. You know, he might have been, who knows, he might have stumbled a little. You never know, but he didn't see it coming from Ptolemy, right? You know,
And which doing he committed a great treachery.
so he slew Simon and his 2 sons, committed a great treachery. Read on.
And recompense
And recompense.
evil for good.
And recompense evil for good. So these evil men back in power again. After they slew Simon and his 2 children, his 2 sons. They recompensed evil for good, you know.
And Ptolemy wrote these things and sent it to the king, that he should send him and hosts to aid him.
So he's asking the troops. He said, listen, I need some more men. We're about to take this whole thing to another level. I got Simon out, I got his sons out. We can take over now.
And he would deliver him the country and cities.
You want the country and the city, don't you? I need men. Send me men. We can take all this over. We give it right back to you.
He sent others also to Gazer to kill John.
To kill who?
To kill John.
The captain. John Hyrcanus, the captain.
And unto the tribunes he sent letters to come upon him, that he might give them silver and gold and rewards.
This kind of sounds familiar. It sounds a little bit like trifling.
And others he sent to take Jerusalem and the mountain of the temple. Now one had run afore to Gazer and told John that his father and brethren were slain, and quoted he, Ptolemy have sent to slay thee also.
So they warned John Hyrcanus. There was a runner that went and told John Hyrcanus, listen, they're coming to slay you. You the captain, you the next in power, you the next high priest after your father. Listen, they're coming to get you. You might want to take action.
Hereof, when he heard, he was sore astonished.
He was what?
Sore astonished.
What? No, you lying.
Sore astonished.
They killed what? My dad's dead? Wait a minute, what?
So he laid hands on him.
He did what?
So he laid hands on him
Go ahead.
that would come to destroy him, and slew them, for he knew that they sought to make them away.
Right, you know.
As concerning the rest of the acts of John and his wars and worthy deeds which he did, and the building of the walls which he made, and his doings. Behold, these are written in the chronicles of his priesthood, from the time he was made high priest after his father.
So just like his father Simon, John Hyrcanus was a righteous, upstanding man of the Most High God, and all his stuff you can read on your own. You know, you can't do all of it for you. You got to do some more. You got to do some research yourself, right? But this is John Hyrcanus the first, the son of Simon Maccabees. All praise to the Most High for Simon Maccabees, for the Maccabees family. May they live and reign forever and even forever and ever. By Shema Mashiach Yahushai, that is the day of Simon Maccabees blessing. Ashar, Yawam, Shaaiwan, Macwabath. All praise and honor, glory to Yahweh, by Shema Mashiach Yahushai, forever and ever. Amen. Come.
Kid.
Questions, precepts, brother's going to bring out. Now's the time.
Excellent lesson.
Praise the Most High.